What's going on? This is Indiana Homes, and today we're taking you through Long Beach, California, along 2nd Street, through the business district, and up to the historic area of 1st Street, where we're going to look at some historic homes. So stick around and come along for the ride.
Belmont Shore is a neighborhood in southeast Long Beach, California. It's a home to many shops, restaurants, salons, and business offices. It's one of 4 major business districts in the city of Long Beach and is considered by many to be the heart of Long Beach. Livingston Drive and 2nd Street from the heart of the Belmont Shore, from approximately Bluff Park on the west to Alamitos Bay and on to Naples Island and to the east, are the neighborhoods that anchor this part of Long Beach. The eastern border of Alamitos Bay Beach is an inland beach that faces Naples Island across a channel. 2nd Street and the 15 intersecting side streets make up the business district of Belmont Shore. The neighborhood features Spanish-style homes from the 1920s and 30s, older houses remodeled and expanded into contemporary styles, numerous large contemporary houses, and sections of multifamily buildings. The southern coast of Belmont Shore is a south-facing Pacific Ocean beach that lies just inside the Long Beach Breakwater. Due to the presence of the federal breakwater, the beach experiences very little surf and is not popular for beach going during the summer months, as they are in nearby beaches of Seal Beach, Huntington Beach, and beaches northward like Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach, Santa Monica Beach, for example. The area offshore of Ocean Beach is, however, popular with kite surfers and kayakers as well as boaters. Each summer, the portion of Bayshore Avenue south of 2nd Street at the eastern end of Belmont Shore is closed to traffic between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and is converted into a pedestrian and bicycle-only zone. This is a very, very popular area. The beach is actually called Horny Corners of all things because of all of the folks that come down there. It's bikini zone, swimsuit zone. It's the place to be seen, the place to see everybody. It's a big party zone.
Looking east on 2nd Street, you can see a lot of businesses down there. Bars, restaurants, fancy eyeglass boutiques, watch shops. And then over here we have Cityology, which is sort of a local shop with lots of trinkets and t-shirts and clothing. And then some more restaurants. And Aroma Doroma coffee shop over there where it says love. They've got these bump outs like you've seen in a lot of cities where they have tables and chairs outside the restaurants, out on the sidewalks or out on the streets, so that the businesses can at least offer some services and some food and dining outdoors. We're now exiting or leaving 2nd Street in the Belmont Shore area, and we're going to cross Livingston, which is going to take us up into what's called Belmont Heights. A lot of nice houses there, big houses, old houses, and eventually we'll walk through that and get to the historic district up on 1st Street, where we'll see some of the historic houses of Long Beach that were built around the turn of the century. That is the turn of the 20th century, not the 21st century. And so we'll go up here and then cut across. As soon as we turn off of 2nd Street in Belmont Shore, it starts to get a lot quieter as we start to walk into Belmont Heights. You'll notice the houses here are all unique. You don't see any of that tract housing stuff you see in the suburbs. because these houses were built, you know, starting at about 1900 and going forward, usually by individual contractors commissioned by individual homeowners. So you get a great variety. Get new houses, old houses, houses that have been renovated. And coming up on the right is a classic apartment building called the Gaetonia here in Long Beach, California. Looking to our right here is the front facade of the Gaetonia, a very beautiful, historic, and storied apartment building. I don't know if it's still an apartment building or if they've been converted to condominiums now, but started out as an apartment building, and very Tony digs for sure. We're walking up to Broadway now, which is a major street that cuts through Long Beach from all the way downtown through to Belmont Shore. As we look across the street here at Broadway and Prospect, we see some of the large homes here that date back 50, 60, 80, 90 years even. And you'll see there's a variety of styles and sizes, from California bungalow to Spanish, revival. Every kind of home style is represented here in Long Beach. Classic California bungalow over here on our right, with another one next to it. House over here for sale. You don't find a lot of houses for sale up in here. This area is pretty highly sought after, so when houses go on the market, they usually sell within the first month, if not the first few days. So interesting to see a house for sale here in the middle of the winter. We are on a busy street here on Broadway, so you're getting a lot of traffic noise. As you see a big city bus go by. People in Long Beach do like their colors, and so here you got a nice colorful house here on the right and a real plain one on the left. There's houses at all different price points in Long Beach, but a single family residence or even a duplex starts around $500,000 and goes up from there. So, you know, having a name Long Beach with the word beach in the name of the city and actually having a coastline with a beach and a bay and a harbor, it does make the property expensive, even if the property is not in perfect condition, or even if the property is not updated or beautiful. It's just the location, location, location. So, you know, you got to pay a lot to live near the water. The city of Long Beach is also home to California State University Long Beach, which is one of the biggest and I believe the most popular. That is the college that has the most applications for a CSU in the state of California. So we do have a great, you know, college student population here. A lot of young people, and lots of them want to stay here after college. So, yeah, there's always that real estate pressure of people wanting to move here or stay here. There's only so much beach property and so much property close to the beach, and they're not making any more of it. So prices just keep going up and up and up. So we're coming up on another business district here, much smaller, but this is a small little business district here on Broadway, and they've got a lot of cute shops here and coffee shops and small businesses of various types. Another classic historic building here with the Panksa restaurant occupying most of the bottom floor, and then apartments up above. This would be a cool place to have an apartment above this restaurant. If you have an old Mercedes, BMW, or Porsche, the Long Beach Auto House is the place to go. Fantastic workmanship, but very pricey, as you would expect for mechanics that work on old Mercedes, old Porsches, and old BMWs. They're experts, but it doesn't come cheap. Across the street here, you see another classic old Long Beach home, and they really want to make sure that you know that they have a dog that could possibly be dangerous. Note the "Beware of Dog" sign and the giant tree. So you can see now the neighborhood is, or the street anyway, is starting to become a little bit more commercial as we walk forward here down Broadway. We're heading, just so you know, we're heading west on Broadway. Long Beach is generally a pretty clean town, but occasionally you do run into stuff like this where, you know, somebody's throwing a bunch of styrofoam out, which is horrible because, as you can see, this is right over a storm drain. And it says here, no dumping. This drains to the ocean. No dumping. And here somebody has dumped all this garbage, and some of it is going to make its way out to the ocean, and the poor fish and sea mammals are going to suffer from ingesting some of this possibly. So we need to be careful about that. Over on the left here is the Potholder Cafe, which is actually quite famous and also, you know, usually has a big line around the block here on any given weekend. This is the 36 Club. Cocktails, local bar, watering hole. Here we have Olive's Grocery, which is a local market here in Long Beach and the Broadway corridor. Lots of small little establishments, markets, bars, liquor stores. Lots of fun stuff here. It's a very eclectic neighborhood. For that matter, I guess we could say, you know, Long Beach is an eclectic city itself. because it's made up of so many different types of neighborhoods, so many different types of business districts and businesses. Really a great town. Sometimes old homes like the one across the street here are turned into restaurants like the Attic. Did you want anything, Willow? Yeah. Okay. We'll let you go in and get some. I'll give you money. We're now walking up on one of the best coffee shops in all of Long Beach called The Library. And the library has excellent coffee, but it also has some of the best desserts you're going to find in all of Southern California, and especially here in Long Beach. So, we're going to stop here, go into the library.
I'm going to get some tea.
Here, I got money. Just bring me change. This is the library coffee shop.
Can we get one piece of New York cheesecake? I guess to go.
You can see the aesthetic of the library coffee shop. Looks much like an old library or an old study in a beautiful old home. This aesthetic is one of the great things about this coffee shop. Now, of course, we're still on lockdown, so nobody's really sitting inside as we're not really allowed to. Everybody has to sit outside. So it seems pretty quiet here, but during normal times, this place would be packed. And across the street we have some shops like Metropolitan Living, Dan's Hardware, another classic hardware store. And next to that we have the Belmont Laundromat, where you can wash your own pet. And then down here is a major dividing street where we have Redondo Avenue and Broadway intersection with the Reno Room on the corner. And this is it, the library, folks. Here's the tattoo shop right here on Broadway, Somatic Tattoo Shop. Look at these stairs, isn't that awesome? They painted those stairs all the way up.
They do piercings.
So if you want your piercings and your tattoos, check out Somatic. Also a great Mexican food stand right here. Cooking away, yum yum. And the Reno Room, right at the corner of Redondo and Broadway. And the Steelhead Coffee House, Steelhead Coffee Shop, right across the street. You can see the Reno Room is opened up for business, but outdoor dining and drinking only. So, leaving the business district on Broadway, we're now going to turn left and head south to the historic district that I promised you at the very beginning, where you're going to see some of the classic large houses that are on First Street, just one block from the beach. So earlier we were walking in the business district of 2nd Street in Belmont Shore, and then we headed up Broadway. Now we are heading down Redondo Avenue, and you'll notice we're about to cross 2nd Street. This is in fact the same 2nd Street that we were on when we were down in the business district, except up here this is the residential area, apartments, condos, and houses. So we're just going to walk one more block down and we'll be at 1st Street and in the historic district. You'll notice the vibe changes significantly as we turn here onto 1st Street from Redondo. The houses are larger, they're spaced out more, the lawns or the front yards have lawns with a further setback from the street. And while you might not love the style of all these houses, you do have to admit they all have their own unique style. So when we get into this neighborhood, as of 2021 now, anyway, as of January 31st, 2021, these houses on this street, 1st Street in the historic district, would probably start for a fixer-upper if you could find one at about 1.5 million, but consider it to be significantly more for most of these houses. Classic California. Across the street, somebody's got their Valentine's greetings up. This is a beautiful, classic, old California style home here. Although I guess you could find homes like this all over the country, really. I am going to guess this was probably built sometime in the late 1920s to the 1930s. I don't really know, but you can see these houses here are a bit grander than the houses that we were seeing as we were walking up from 2nd onto Broadway. Now, of course, Broadway is a business district, a major thoroughfare that crosses the town. But if we were to zigzag up and down the streets off of Broadway, either north or south towards the beach, you'd see a lot more homes. So I think I'll do that on a future video. We'll do a zigzaggy crisscross walk through all the neighborhoods that branch off of Broadway. First and Coronado Street.
Where you going? Straight?
Love the overgrowth in this front yard. They've got a really fun jungle. As a child, I would have loved to have played in that jungle. In fact, I did have a jungle kind of yard in the backyard of my house growing up in Los Angeles, and also in the vacant lot next door. This is a treasure for children. You can notice it's much quieter on this street and a lot less foot traffic. Although we do get the neighborhood walkers, people enjoying the outdoors in the late afternoon and early evening. Right now it's just late afternoon. Classic home built in 1927 with a beautiful modern style door, kind of reminiscent of the late 1920s. Lots of palm trees in California, and it's the same here in Long Beach. Interestingly enough, palm trees are not native to California. They were brought here during the early age of motion picture in the 1920s and planted for movie sets and eventually in various neighborhoods, and now they're synonymous with California. Here's a home for sale. Beautiful porch. We're at First and Paloma now, and if you look straight down the street there, that is the ocean, just one short little block from where we're standing. It would be the ocean bluffs, the bluffs overlooking the ocean. There's some cliffs there. This house across the street is just gorgeous. Really does stand out, all brick, classic kind of, I'm not sure, is that Normandy style? Somebody leave that in the comments. Tell me what style that is. It's a beautiful brick home. Looks like a doggy date. This is one of the bigger backyard, I should say one of the bigger front yards that you're going to find here on First Street. The house is set all the way back. It's a very deep lot. A lot of these houses have very deep lots here. So here you can see the front yard leading up to a gate and fence, and then more front yard, and finally you get the house. So I don't know, this could be the backyard of a house that's facing maybe onto 2nd Street, and they have an address on 1st Street. It's very unusual. Great to have that much yard though. And here we are at Orizaba and 2nd, and you'll see across the street a beautiful old brick house, sort of an English style house, I guess, and then a giant old 1960s tower of apartments, maybe condos or apartments, blue. And then just beyond that, you can see the ocean and Catalina Island, which may be hard for you to see from here, but we'll see. How much is that doggy in the window? It's a little poodle in the window. Starting to hear some of the traffic noise, especially motorcycles and sports cars. One block over on Ocean Boulevard, which is just one block south of us from where we are on First Street. So some of that traffic noise bleeds over into the neighborhood when you get the loud vehicles coming through, but otherwise it's a pretty quiet neighborhood. Be a wonderful neighborhood to live in if you could afford it. This is a really beautiful house here. Really classic. You gotta love the curled shingles on the roof of this house here and that copper chimney. Really great stuff. This home has a plaque that says it was built in 1925. Here's a really fun house coming up on the right here. Beautiful shade of blue and a really fun garden full of gnomes and animals and cacti, all ringing the grass yard. Look at that. Looks like we got a, what is it, a Hamburglar? I'm not sure what that is. There's a choo-choo train. There's a mutant ninja turtle. Some rabbits. Caterpillar. I love your yard. It's so magical.
Oh, during COVID, it's been my rest.
It's lovely. We love what you did.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Your whole home is beautiful.
Yeah, the colors are
It's making me smile. This is a great house here. I don't know this for a fact, but I was told once that this used to be a fire engine company building, so a firehouse. So you can notice it doesn't look quite as much like a house as the houses we've been seeing. It's all made of brick, and I think if we go around the side here, you're going to see that they've got a separate garage where they used to keep the old fire trucks in. Now, if I'm wrong, please correct me if you know better, and you can tell me in the comments. But you can see this is quite a large structure here, not like all the other houses, and really built like a tank with all this heavy-duty kind of industrial brick, really. Then you can see over here, there's a separate garage. Looks like they have living quarters above the garage. And you can see it's this very distinct two-car garage. Or if I'm correct, and this was actually a firehouse, then it's a two-engine garage. So this kind of gives you a view of the back and side of this structure. So if anybody knows any differently, let me know if I'm correct or not about this being a firehouse. But that's what I was told years ago. Okay, we're heading south again on Molina Street back to First Street. I think we've got about one more block of kind of large historic homes, and then it starts to become apartment buildings and things like that. So we'll continue on for another block. Great old yellow house here with a small glass door painted red. This brown house seems interesting. There's a sort of patriotic group of statues up above on the second floor balcony. You've got what's sort of like a Statue of Liberty, but not quite, with sunglasses on it. And then a couple of American eagles and a couple of American flags. Kind of interesting. And of course they got a river running through it too, a little stream there. Wow, now this is getting back there in years. This one is a home built in 1912, and it's currently being renovated. 1912, that's a long time ago. This is something you see all over Long Beach, and I'm sure you see it in towns and cities all over the place, is these little lending libraries that people maintain. They just collect their old books or put their old books out in sort of boxes or carts, and they let people just freely borrow books and return them as they wish and add to them. It's a nice neighborly thing to do. Looks like we have one more block to go in the historic district, and then we'll be turning back. It's a good thing I have these nice, comfy, thick Skechers walking shoes, walking/running shoes. I'm not being paid to endorse them. I just really find them super comfy. My feet feel like they're walking on pillows. Looking to the right there, you see the Broadway Glass Company, so you can see we're just 2 small blocks from Broadway. Ocean is on our left, Broadway's on our right. And this will be the last block that we walk down that has single-family homes on it. Past this block, it starts to become more apartment buildings, duplexes, and things like that. This is a nice renovation. This old home here is really being brought to life with beautiful bright white paint, an off kind of creamy yellow with a white fence. Classic. They've got a little faux widow's walk over a little bump out kind of window there. Beautiful. Some more renovation. You see scaffolding up over here. These old homes do need maintenance. They do need to be repaired, and they do need to be updated from time to time. Most of these homes, or at least a lot of them, are wooden homes with wooden shingle siding, and so that requires a lot of work, a lot of maintenance and repainting and patching. I think it's a little less work when you have homes that have cement or stucco walls. This one has a little combination of both. Has a little bit of an Asian flair to it if you look at the roof line.
It was a couple years ago.
Love this tree here. Beautiful tree. That white bark really complements the three-tone brown color palette in this house here. So we're coming up to the intersection of First and Kennebec, and this is where the neighborhood starts to change. You start to get a lot of apartments and duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes and so on. So we're going to turn here and head back across the street, start heading back down to Belmont Shore and 2nd Street. You can see how wide this street is here. 2nd Street's really wide and really kind of quiet and nice. Do you guys want to walk down Ocean or walk down this? It's the same. This might be a little faster if we go down to Ocean. Okay, instead of doubling back onto 1st Street, we're going to head down Kennebec to Ocean Boulevard, which runs all along Long Beach, and of course through various cities from Santa Monica all the way down to Newport Beach and beyond, where it becomes Pacific Coast Highway. But Ocean Boulevard in Long Beach basically runs right along the beach, or in the case of where we are right now, the bluffs, which are like cliffs above the beach. So as we walk up on Ocean Boulevard, you'll notice the Long Beach Museum of Art is directly across the street from us at Kennebec and Ocean Boulevard. Great little small museum. They have everything from international artists of acclaim and fame to local artists and even school kids presenting their art. See, there's a couple buildings and a big area there. Let's see, we got to cross here so that we can get across on Ocean. Okay, heading across the street here. Get a little bit of a view here of what the museum looks like from, it's obviously closed. Across the street we have a lot of big historic homes as well. A lot of historic homes of pretty large scale on Ocean Boulevard too. So now we're just walking along the side of the Long Beach Museum of Art, and you'll see as we walk to the edge of the bluffs here that we have a good view of the sand beach down below and the Long Beach Harbor and Bay. You can see down here we've got a bicycle path. We've got some parking lots, we've got basketball courts, all kinds of stuff going on. roller skaters, bicyclists, food trucks. People love to come down here to the bluffs for exercise, for picnicking, just hanging out. Other people are more active and they like to go down to the beach and play basketball, or in the case of these women down here, skating. Looks like a lot of skater pals. Over here you can see across the way there's if you look far off in the distance there, you see three red smokestacks, red and black. That's the Queen Mary, very famous Queen Mary cruise ship, which has been docked there since the 1960s. It's just a hotel and restaurant complex now. But next to that, you'll see there's a big cruise ship that would come in and out of here to pick up guests and go on cruises. And directly across from that, you're going to see between us and that what looks like a mountain, that's Catalina Island out there. It's just 22 miles across the sea from where we are. And then you see a lot of container ships all lined up, waiting to come into Long Beach and Los Angeles harbors to offload their cargo from mostly China, but from all over the world. And then smaller islands over here are actually oil drilling islands, or at least there's some type of oil production islands that dot the Long Beach harbor. I think there's 3 of them. Again, across the street you see a lot of big homes. These homes along Ocean are actually still part of the historic district. They're just not on the quiet First Street, which is 1 block behind it. They're here, across from the ocean on Ocean Boulevard. Down here you can see we've got skater girls, young ladies all enjoying the sport of roller skating, which is pretty popular here in Long Beach, as I'm sure it's popular in other places throughout the country as well. So if you want to get your skate on, this is the place to come. Looks like the city of Long Beach is building some kind of structures here. It looks like public restrooms and maybe some other facilities. It says 8 projects by 2028, so it should be interesting to see what they end up coming up with there. From this vantage point up here, you can kind of see the Long Beach that Long Beach gets its name from. Obviously, Long Beach must mean it has Long Beach, and it sure does. Yeah, looking south here, you can see the Long Beach Pier, or they call it the Belmont Pier, actually. And then that beach continues up the other direction all the way down to where the convention center is there. So it is quite a long beach. There are several of these staircases throughout Long Beach, especially down by the sand. These are used by a lot of fitness people to run up and down the stairs to build up those calves and those quads and those thighs. Get those gluteus maximuses nice and high and tight running up and down stairs. Gotta have good knees for that though. If you look straight ahead, past those shipping containers, or I should say past the container ships, you'll notice you can see the island out there, Catalina Island. Catalina Island has a small town on it, but it's mostly a national, or at least a state, maybe not national, a state historic preserve. And they have bison out there, and they have wild pigs, or they call them wild boars, and some horses, and a lot of great stuff. Catalina Island was owned by Mr. Wrigley of the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company, and his family still maintains a ranch and a home there, but they deeded most of the island to the state of California. You can only imagine what the property taxes would be if you had to pay property taxes on an entire island the size of that island. So we, the public, have really been fortunate that we've been able to have access to that island. All kinds of interesting motorized wheels. These guys are riding motorized wheels, single wheels, alongside the bicyclists and the skaters and the walkers. Some of the big homes right along Ocean Boulevard. And there's that big blue tower again. We saw it before from the neighborhood on First Street, and now we see it to our left on Ocean Boulevard, which is actually where it's planted, you know, where its address is. It's a very overcast day today because it is January 31st, 2021, and it had rained quite a bit in California, Southern California, Long Beach, the last 2 or 3 days. But there was no rain yesterday or today, Saturday or Sunday. But it is overcast because there's another storm coming in. It's probably going to start raining again on Tuesday. So we've got kind of a cloudy, overcast day. But it does make it nice for walking because you don't get hot, you don't get sweaty. Most people are wearing masks out here, which is nice to see. Another one of these staircases. Another great house. I would even say a grand house here on the corner of Orizaba and Ocean Boulevard, with some other grand houses continuing on down the block. Like I said before, we've been in lockdown for about 10 months now, so people like to get outside. You can't really go inside to restaurants or anything like that, so just being outdoors and getting to walk, bicycle, picnic, anything is a relief from, you know, the oppressive feeling of just being locked down and kind of stuck in your house, not able to really socialize too much. So being in a city where we have all these great outdoor opportunities and all this open space is really great. This really gives you a good view here. You can see there's a cruise ship, and then I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, at least 20 container ships, and 3 or 4 cruise ships, and 3 oil production islands, all within view. A lot of product coming in from overseas, coming into the port for offloading. That's where all your products come from, over usually across the Pacific, from Asia, China, Vietnam, Taiwan, all those places, Indonesia, and they fill up your stores like your Walmarts and your Targets. So that's where it's all coming from. It's all coming through the Port of Long Beach and the Port of Los Angeles, which, you know, if you don't know, the Port of Long Beach and the Port of Los Angeles are right next to each other. I mean, they're right there. There's nothing that separates them, really. So you've got 2 different ports, but they're very large. I think they're the largest in the United States. And they, you know, that's the destination for most goods to come into the U.S., is coming through the Port of Long Beach and Los Angeles on container ships. This is the Lone Sailor Memorial. It's really nice. Beautiful bronze statue. The city of Long Beach used to be home to one of the larger U.S. Navy ports, where they had a dry dock. They used to repair a lot of the ships from World War II and prepare them to go overseas during the war. And that's why the city of Long Beach Harbor has a very large rock jetty that kind of encircles the harbor, and that was to protect all the ships and the shipping of the U.S. Navy during the period of World War II. By the 1960s, there wasn't much need for that anymore, and by the 1980s, I think the U.S. Navy pretty much left Long Beach and left the dry docks.
I know.
The city of Long Beach also has had a very rich history with aircraft production, especially military aircraft production for World War II, and then passenger and commercial airline production after that. So we had Douglas aircraft, Lockheed aircraft, Boeing aircraft, and probably some others that are escaping my memory right now. And most all of that is gone now. We still have the Long Beach Airport, but most of that land has been repurposed now out by the airport for big, commercial and industrial parks for businesses. Not much going on now in terms of industrial, commercial, or military aircraft design and production. Another view of the houses here. Looking back along Bluff Park here and the bluffs, you kind of get a good view of the area we just walked. I'm going to step up on this bench here, give you a little better view. And you can kind of see where we are. Looking straight ahead, we see Belmont Pier. And then turning over here, we look towards the Queen Mary. And that big hill off in the distance is Palos Verdes Peninsula. A very tony neighborhood, very expensive. And lots of views of the ocean from up there. It's a beautiful area. And then looking back over this way, Ocean Boulevard at Coronado Street. Here we have the flashing light district. Not sure why the lights are flashing. I don't know if that's Morse code or maybe it's for people exercising. You see a woman running up the steps here. So maybe this is the designated running stairs. Who knows? Even on an overcast, somewhat chilly day, although not too cold, you get a lot of people riding bicycles and running and walking. Everybody wants to be out. Some more of the big houses here on Ocean.
Over by terminal, right? More or less.
Over here to the left, where you see that statue in the shell, that's a convent there, or at least it used to be a convent. It may now have been converted to some other religious sect. But it used to be a convent. I'm not sure exactly what it is now and which religious group owns it, but it still has some religious community that lives there. Sort of directly over that oil production island now, up in the sky, you can see one of the Goodyear blimps that's famous. You see them over sporting events all the time. If you ever go to football games or soccer games or sometimes concerts. We have one of the Goodyear blimp airship, I don't know if you call them airports or what, but there's one over in Carson, which is just one city. The city of Carson is just the next door neighbor city to Long Beach. Long Beach is bordered by Carson to the north and, well, actually to the east. Carson, the city of Carson to the east, Bellflower and Lakewood to the north, and then sort of Westminster to the west, and also Huntington Beach to the southwest. And then you have other cities like Sunset Beach and Surfside, which are south of Seal Beach, which is another city, small city, that borders Long Beach. So the far southeast section of Long Beach butts up against Seal Beach. And then you continue down off Pacific Coast Highway and you run into Sunset Beach, Surfside, and then eventually Huntington Beach and then Newport Beach. So all these beach cities kind of follow one right after another. But Long Beach is one of the largest ones in terms of, you know, square miles and population. I think Huntington Beach is maybe as big or bigger in terms of square miles. I'm not sure about population. But I will say that City of Long Beach is probably the most diverse city in terms of both socioeconomic populations as well as you know, different levels of you know, economics as well. A very diverse strata of America and a very inclusive city as well. I think everybody mostly gets along pretty well in Long Beach, and we have, you know, all different populations here from many different countries across the world in the South Pacific. It's a really great place to live. I'm not going to walk down these stairs, but you can look off to the left here and get a little better view of Belmont Pier and the bicyclists and skaters and walkers and runners. From this point forward, as we head south and east along Ocean, we see a lot more apartment buildings and some high-rises as well. Well, maybe not too many high-rises. Those are more down on the other side of Ocean by downtown. But you see a lot of apartment buildings and duplexes, quad triplexes, and you know, condos and apartments and things. It's a popular area to live in because of its close proximity to the water and the beach, and of course the Belmont. Here's the Ocean Manor Place, kind of a cool looking old California style, mission style apartment building. Looks like maybe the apartment building's been turned into condos now because I see a real estate sign. You can hear more traffic now. It's getting busier as we head back down into Belmont Shore and 2nd Street. This is the Long Beach Windsurf Center here, and if anybody's ever windsurfed or paddleboarded, this is the place to go in Long Beach and sort of the South Bay area. These guys have been here probably 30 years or more, and they really know their stuff. Here's Chronic Tacos, great taco shop. They have 2 of these in Long Beach, just about 2 miles apart, and they have them all over Southern California. If you want a good taco, come to Chronic Tacos. Not sponsored. That noise you're hearing there is the parrots. Long Beach has a large tropical parrot population. I'm not sure how they got here. Maybe they were people's pets and then they were released and they multiplied, but they fly all over Long Beach and they live up in these trees. They have a good time. These Razor scooters and Bird scooters are pretty popular, as are the electric scooters and electric bikes. Either that way or right. Yeah. There's parrots all around us. So we're leaving the historic area now, and now we're just heading into Belmont Shore neighborhood, and then we'll be back on 2nd Street where we started. And there's the sign, Belmont Plaza Pool, Belmont Veterans Memorial Pier, Oceanfront Restaurants, to the right. We're at Terminal and Ocean Boulevard. And if we turn to the right, you can see out that direction will be the pier and the beaches and restaurants, and there's the Olympic pool where they have swimming events for the Olympics, but actually that's all been shut down and they're tearing that up, and they're going to build a new swimming pool, new Olympic swimming pool venue. I don't know when that'll be done. I know they're still working on that. I happily had a Sancho's taco before I left, and that has really powered me through this walk today. Sancho's Tacos is on 2nd Street in Belmont Shore. We'll be passing by it. And if you want some very interesting, very scrumptious tacos, stop at Sancho's Tacos. Again, not sponsored. I'm just a fan of their tacos. Getting kind of dark now. I don't know how the GoPro is gonna hold up here in the early evening. It is 5:18 p.m. and being winter, the days are pretty short and the sun has set, or is setting as we speak, I'm not sure. And so we're just kind of getting this reflected light off the cloud cover. So we'll probably get through 2nd Street right about the time it goes just about completely dark. So if you're looking to go to a beach town that has a lot of diversity, a lot of inclusion, a lot of things to do, a lot of great restaurants and outdoor activities, Long Beach is definitely one of those places. You know, in terms of Southern California, the beaches you always hear about are like Malibu Beach, right? That's where all the movie stars and rich people live. But actually, you know, you have to be pretty wealthy to live in Santa Monica too, which is a much larger city than Malibu. And just south of that, just south of Malibu is Santa Monica. And then, you know, south of that, you have other beaches, Venice Beach and the Venice Canals. A lot of people know that all over the world because, you know, it's kind of a circus down there on the beach. You have Muscle Beach, that's part of Venice Beach, and then you have all the vendors and the artisans, and you know, lots of people, all different characters from all over the world. Makes it an interesting place to be. And south of that, you have Playa del Rey, which is a pleasure marina that's very fancy, expensive. It's very popular with the single crowd, you know, the singles, young 20-somethings and 30-somethings, and the boat crowd, right? The pleasure boat crowd. And then south of Marina del Rey, you have Playa del Rey, which is actually a really nice small little beach that is just beyond the Los Angeles International Airport. So the airplanes, the jets taking off from LAX fly right over Playa del Rey Beach, which makes it kind of noisy, but it's a nice beach. And then south of that, you have, let's see, what would be the next beach after that? Either Hermosa or Manhattan Beach. I think Manhattan Beach, oh no, El Segundo actually. El Segundo is next. And that's a nice little town. Some beach. And then beyond El Segundo, you'd have, I believe, Manhattan Beach, which is a very tony, you know, very pricey, kind of fancy beach. Home to some rock stars, movie stars, television stars, and lots of well-off people that have done well in business. Expensive to get down into that beach. And then from there you go on to a small beach community, Hermosa Beach, which again is very exclusive and pricey. And then from Hermosa Beach, goes down to Redondo Beach, which is again really nice, but a little bit more middle class, upper middle class beach town built on a series of hills, kind of right between Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach, right around there. And then let's see, south of Redondo, you have Torrance Beach. Torrance Beach is nice. And then that ends like right at Palos Verdes, that big hill we saw. And so you have Palos Verdes, and then most of those beaches there, although there are some public beaches, some public beach access, but a lot of those beaches are coves, and they're private coves, and there's like not any public access, or not any easy public access to it. And then south of Palos Verdes, you get San Pedro, which has a tiny little beach, has a lot of cliffs, and then that ends at Los Angeles Harbor, Los Angeles International Commercial Harbor. And then when you get past the Los Angeles Harbor, you're not going to find any beaches there. You come into the Long Beach Harbor, which has also Terminal Island on it, where you have, like the name of it, terminal. It's a terminal for a lot of these container ships to offload their cargo. And then you get past the Long Beach Harbor, and you are in Long Beach, and you then come into the sort of recreational area of Long Beach where you have recreational boaters, and then everything from the Pike Shopping Center and Theater District to Pine Avenue and the Convention Center, the Hotel District, and then all of Long Beach that we just saw off the bluffs there. And now here we are back at 2nd Street and Livingston, which we crossed over some time ago. If we look up the hill there, you can just see the Gaetonia sign. We saw the Gaetonia earlier. Looks like part of the sign is dim. It lost its light, so it just sort of says Tonia now, but it's Gaetonia. And now we're walking back onto 2nd Street into the business district. And here we are at Archibald's. This is a popular fast food restaurant that has everything from burgers to BLTs and fantastic burritos, wet burritos, and every kind of sandwich, hamburgers, french fries, chocolate shakes, every kind of thing you could want. I don't know if anybody's hungry. Oh yeah. So now we're back to Belmont Shore. There's the Belmont Shore sign right there. And one of the oldest businesses on 2nd Street, Sheldrake's coffee shop, which has been here forever. And you can see Sheldrake's has their own roasting machines.
I'm taking Friday off.
They grind their own beans and roast them like on a big commercial scale for the neighborhood. It's really great. And you do get some chain restaurants down here like Rubio's, and then a family-owned chain restaurant across the street which has some pretty good Mexican food. It's a certain style of Mexican food that a lot of people relate to across the street there, Super Mex. And Aroma de Roma, which is a great coffee shop. So when we started our journey and we came over the bridge, we walked into the Belmont Shore area and we saw this from across the street. We were across the street, we saw Cityology, which is kind of a cool little shop. Knickknacks, curios, tchotchkes, some touristy stuff and some fun stuff. So now you're getting to see the town, or the Belmont Shore 2nd Street area at night. And you can see a lot of restaurants have their little bump out patio areas onto the street so that they can serve food. A little quieter than it was earlier. There's Phil's Coffee Shop. A lot of people like that. Ellison, a fancy shop. Clothing for women that like a certain style. Children's shop over here. Lots of fun clothing for kids. And then a jewelry shop. And frozen yogurt. I mean, who doesn't love frozen yogurt, right? Looks like they're closed right now, even though it says we're open. Maybe the employees are in the back taking a break. And then the dog bakery. Look at these things. These are amazing. What lucky dogs are getting these? Wow. There she's making them right there. She's making cupcakes for dogs. Fancy restaurant here, Saint on 2nd. If you want some very fancy food, this is the place to come. There's a beautiful dog. So this is a fun and fancy restaurant here. Nick's on 2nd is a really famous restaurant that has really great gourmet food. That whole line of restaurants there, the Goyen and La Crêperie, those are all really great restaurants. People that like jewelry and sort of younger fashion might like Shara. And then in that same building, they've got the Belmont Athletic Club for people that need to work out, get in shape. I'm hoping these walks I'm starting to take will replace some of the exercise I'm not doing, because my health club is closed down, you know, during the lockdown, and so I haven't been able to work out there in like 10 months. So I've been packing on some pounds and getting out of shape and losing muscle mass. But hopefully these walks will help burn a few calories anyway.
Balance.
A lot of stores have gone out of business down here on 2nd Street, you know, due to the lockdowns and people not being able to shop or eat. This store, Luna, is very fancy, though. They have great stuff in here. If you want to buy something very original, very precious and special for that special person in your life, Luna is one of those places that you can find that. Petrie's Bakery is pretty amazing. If you want to have some really great baked goods and good culinary delights, that's a good place to go. And we saw this from across the street, the Billings Paint and Hardware. Classic old school neighborhood hardware store. It's really great. If you need anything from paint to barbecues to decorations for your house of any kind to a nut or a bolt or a screw, Billings has it all. Again, not sponsored, I'm just a fan. A lot of people waiting in line here for something. Another restaurant. Coca-Cola, a lot of people like that. Panama Joe's, very popular restaurant with the singles crowd. Mexican restaurant and bar, usually packed with people inside and out on any given day, especially on the weekend. And of course, like every other business, they've been closed down for months. And this weekend was the first weekend they were able to open up again. So you see they've got all their dozens of screens up and running for sports, and lots of customers out in the bump out little patios and taking advantage of this first weekend free from lockdown. See a lot of people out here. Nobody's wearing masks, and almost nobody's wearing masks, and no social distancing because you know, they're all outside eating. Oh, there's a cute little beagle. That was a cute little beagle. Okay. We're now heading east on 2nd Street still. It is a Sunday night. Usually Sunday nights are relatively quiet, but again, people have been cooped up in their houses for months on end, and they're trying to make the most of the dry weather and the mild temperatures to be able to go outside and go visit a restaurant, have a drink, socialize with friends. And so that's what we've seen a lot of tonight and today. Across the street here is probably the best Lebanese Middle Eastern food I've come across for a really long time. It's called Open Sesame, and they've actually got the restaurant directly across the street, and then also over on the corner across from that Bank of America they have a second restaurant just to accommodate all the people that go there. In the summer you could wait an hour and a half to get into that restaurant. It's packed. People love it. They love that food, and chicken shawarma and baba ganoush, all the good stuff they have there, falafels. Now we're coming up on a very famous sports bar called Legends that's always packed with people normally. Of course, they're outdoors today, but it's a sports bar with giant screens, and it's been around for a long time. Here's a van store. You can see here, Vans, quite a big establishment. Vans tennis shoes.
I was at a game at Dignity, and we were playing Barbados, I think. And it was 11.
Relatively busy for a Sunday night.
Like, put on a sweater. Take that shit off.
Angelo's Italian Deli is fantastic. If you want to have food that is sort of in the style of New York Italian deli sandwiches and desserts like cannolis, Angelo's is the place to go. It is amazing. I love their caprese sandwich, caprese. They also have another restaurant in Seal Beach just down the road from us. Earlier we saw the Vans store. Here's Tilly's. I'm sure you guys, especially if you have teenagers or middle schoolers, are familiar with Tilly's. They've got all the clothes that the kids want. And here's a local establishment owned by some locals coming up here across the street at Glendora and 2nd called Dogs. And basically it's a hot dog restaurant that has a very healthy bar crowd. As you can see, we've got a lot of patrons here. And then Long Beach Swag is a cool store if you like Long Beach branded clothing. And then Cal State Long Beach has a store right here too. If you want to buy Cal State Long Beach gear, Fern's Garden is a really fun shop. And then George's Greek Restaurant here is awesome. Famous small bar across the street is Shannon's Bayshore. Been around forever, really popular with the college crowd and the younger crowd. And then next to that, where it says pizza, Domenico's Pizza is one of the most famous restaurants in Long Beach. It's been around probably longer than any other that I can think of anyway, at least down here on the shore. And that's Domenico's Italian restaurant. And as you can see, they're packed full of people in their patio, outdoor dining, and they have spectacular food there. I can recommend the gnocchi, the pizza, the wine, geez, just about anything. Now we're coming to the end of the Belmont Shore 2nd Street Business District, and we've just got one really good restaurant left here on the right. As we cross the street here, we have Roe, which is a very special, very kind of deluxe, high-end fish restaurant, or a restaurant centered on seafood restaurant, okay? They have an outdoor takeout here, and then they have a very fancy inside restaurant over here, but of course no inside dining right now again. So that's pretty much it for 2nd Street. Here's the public library, a little small neighborhood public library. And then as we cross Bayshore, 2nd and Bayshore, we're going to cross and we will be heading over that bridge again and leaving Belmont Shore and 2nd Street. So once again, we're now walking east on the Louis D. Reese Bridge. And if you look to your right over here, you can see a little bit of the Los Alamitos Bay. This is a little tiny corner of it. Of course, it's much bigger than what you can see here. But this gives you a little bit of an idea. I'll turn to the right here momentarily so you can see it. So this Los Alamitos Bay, or a little piece of it, a little finger of it. And there's the beach. Down at the end is Horny Corners, which we'll have to do a tour of another day in the daytime, maybe in the summer. So this has been Indiana Homes, and I hope you've all enjoyed this walk with me this afternoon and this evening through 2nd Street, the Heights, 1st Street Historic District, and Ocean Boulevard Historic District, as well as the Bluffs, and then back down 2nd Street. It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys will join me again on my next adventure. Until then, Indiana Homes, signing off.
Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications button. Thank you very much.